Hey yo, what's up everybody, it's JJ. Today we're coming back a video basically talking about Helium, and of course on this Helium itself we have heard about this HIP70. If let's say you are unsure about that and after that you are in the Helium ecosystem, so this HIP itself 70 will be basically impacted, and of course Helium itself is going to migrate their blockchain towards the Solana one. And of course we are in this video we're going to cover on what is Helium for starters, and after that what is this HIP70 all about, and of course what can you expect as a hotspot owner, validator, and after that many more that you are interacting with the ecosystem. So without further ado, disclaimer first, I have basically linked the affiliate links down below. If let's say you want to buy Helium Hotspots, if example you want to buy, and after that from there you want to generate some HNT for passive income. And of course I would say that on this video itself, without further ado, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just here to basically educate you guys through my experience and of course entertain you guys. And of course without further ado, we are basically going to jump into the segment itself. What is Helium for starters? So if you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly hit the subscribe button, turn on post notification, and leave a thumbs up to this video, and let's get started. So for starters itself, Helium itself is an ecosystem which is using the LoRaWAN 1 technology itself to basically provide proof of coverage, and after that from there, like your IoT devices, basically you can use them basically as a very cheap price, basically just buy the sensors, and after that from there, based on your use case, you pay basically one whole year itself. If you run a sensor, it will cost you less than $10 or less than $20 to run one sensors. And of course if let's say you are using like the traditional telco to basically do this kind of IoT stuff, basically monthly you are basically getting charged like maybe $5 to $10 depending on what kind of data that you are subscribed to. And of course I would say that on Helium itself there has been a lot of breakdown, a lot of maintenance, and after that it is still a very new technology. But of course as of now we can see that they are migrating towards the blockchain, basically from Helium to Solana itself. We are basically seeing some kind of bearish move itself, and after that we are going to explain it through. And of course right now we are going to basically talk about what is this HIP70. So basically for this HIP70 itself, the Helium core team, basically remember this keyword core team itself, they hold a bunch of HNT token, and after that they basically have lots of HNT for these proposals to go through, and we're gonna explain it later on. And after that over here propose to migrate to the Solana blockchain. So previously if you know about Helium, they are running their own blockchain, basically their own layer 1 solution, basically it's the Helium blockchain. And after that from there they have like validators to validate the blocks, and after that they have hotspots to basically provide proof of coverage, and of course from there send data here and there. But of course right now they're going to migrate towards this Solana ecosystem itself. Basically you can see that announced today, basically on the 31st of August, which is around 6 days ago. They have basically proposed a Helium blockchain to be migrated towards the Solana. And after that from there you can see that the core developer team proposed to move the POC, proof of coverage, and data accounting to oracles. So basically we know this word as proof of coverage, and after that the data transfer, the DC credits and everything, basically is going to be it's basically going to be changed in the name into this thing called the oracles. And after that from there excuse me, so over here we simplifies the architecture, and of course allow for the selection of basically more scalable layer 1. Basically Helium itself is going to be running on the Solana blockchain, and after that it will become a layer 2 solution on the Solana ecosystem. And of course from there I believe that there's a lot of words over here. I'm not going to read it through to you guys. Basically over here they are going to explain to you what is this HIP70 all about. And of course from the layman terms itself, in a perspective itself, it's gonna change from Helium blockchain towards the Solana blockchain. Basically it's from layer 1 towards layer 2. So this is what is the HIP70 all about. And of course from there we're gonna talk about the price first before we break down the whole article. So over here for this for the community / the holders itself, we can see that the price as of Helium itself is worth around $3.80. If let's say we look at the all-time high itself, is around like almost $50, around 52, basically $52 plus. And after that what happened to the Helium network itself, it was perfectly moving, basically prospering and everything. Of course the price shows everything, and of course eventually when the bear market hit, it tanked, and after that the bear market hit again, it tanked again, and eventually as of today we can look at the 7-day chart itself. The price of Helium itself has been going towards the decline. So you can see that over here it might be like a support zone, and it might bounce and everything, and I believe that a lot of technical analysis is gonna say, oh, Helium's gonna bounce, yes, bouncing down. Why is that so? Because on the 31st of August itself, they have launched the article, which is around, I do not know what time, but of course we're gonna take the all-time high over here. of 31st, basically it was worth around $5.60 before they published the announcement. But of course, after the announcement published, basically you can see that everybody holding the token or whatsoever, they are selling. And of course, from there you can see that this whole news itself is not really bullish for Helium itself for migrating towards the Solana blockchain. I mean, the price tells, and of course, I mean, like, the price itself is just the price moving up and down, doesn't matter. But of course, the technical back end of this HIP proposal itself is basically more important, and of course, it's the future of Helium itself. And after that, I would say that this action itself might be correct, might be wrong, but of course going to give you my own thoughts and personal opinions. So right now we're going to break down the HIP basically in depth itself. So for the impact itself, we can see the impact right now. The price is tanking, and after that people might be thinking, oh, I can buy it, become a validator. But before you buy and after that behold a validator itself, we are going to explain to you this article itself, and after that validator might not be needed anymore. So over here we're gonna do a breakdown itself, in-depth breakdown, basically talking about the whole article. So if you want to read through, I'm gonna link this article down below, and of course from there you can see the TLDR itself is telling us that the HIP70 proposed 3 major changes. One itself is moving proof of coverage to oracles, and after that moving data transfer accounting to oracles, and after that over here migrating the whole Helium network itself, including tokens, governance, and of course the economics all around HNT itself, DC and IoT, and their mobile token, which is basically HNT and DC itself is the starter. Basically we have HNT, and after that with DC for data credit for you to basically insert your hotspot, and after that use the sensors and everything. And of course they introduced the IoT token. Basically I believe that this over here, the token, is going to be used for the sensors, and mobile itself is another 5G technology that you can use to mine this mobile token, and after that from there onto the Solana blockchain. So over here see below itself, without the need of performing this POC and after data transfer accounting on chain, basically talking about the Helium layer 1 solution, their own blockchain, the blockchain requires to support the Helium network will become much more simpler. Yeah, we can see that because previously on this data transfer and POC itself, we can look at the Explorer itself, it is working fine and everything. But of course, if let's say you look at the consensus group, like within this year itself, we can see that there's a lot of outage. I mean, like end of the last year itself, we can see that the blockchain has been hauled, and after that many more issues about Helium network itself. Basically the blockchain itself has been hauled many times, has been down many times, and after that from there it is totally, I would say, unusable. If let's say you want to talk about compare it with other chain itself, there's minimum downtime and everything. But of course on Helium itself, they seem to keep having this issue after every major / minor update that is happening. And after I believe that they have a testnet over there, and I've explained it and after that emphasized many times, Helium has a testnet. But of course unfortunately whatever they are testing on a testnet, it seems to be working on a testnet, but when it launched towards the mainnet itself, it is shit, and after that from there it is crashing and everything. So over here we are going to basically talk about what is going to happen towards the hotspot later on. So over here we can see the need for this HIP70 itself is basically scalability, and of course from there we believe that right now maintaining the blockchain of layer 1 Helium itself, it is going to take out a lot of money, and after that from there I believe that the company itself is somehow running out of cash, and after that from there to maintain this blockchain itself, it will require a lot of skills and manpower to do so. And after that eventually, if let's say they migrate towards the Solana blockchain itself, first of all, the Solana ecosystem itself, they have a bunch of developers who knows how to code on the platform, and after that from there they can basically use the resources on Solana. So this is one of the pros and cons over here. So for the cons itself, basically for this whole concept of proof of coverage itself, it is somehow being taken away because of scalability. And after that from there I would say that many more coming soon. And after that over here we can see in the several months itself, this proven a challenge for users. Basically over here, due to the network size and blockchain validator load itself, it has been always crashing from time to time, being like delayed and everything. So yeah, many more. So right now we're gonna talk about the Oracle migration, basically your hotspots and of course validator right now. So what's gonna happen for these two key pointer, I mean like key user on the Helium ecosystem. So we know that the validators itself is being a key role to basically produce like more blocks, and after that from there validate the blocks and so on and so forth. And after the Helium itself is here to basically provide coverage, and of course from there, if let's say you're using a Helium hotspot and there's an IoT device nearby, you are basically going to transmit the data from your hotspot towards other hotspot, and from there you earn the rewards. And of course from there, as of now we see that they are migrating towards the Solana ecosystem. So I'm going to be frank with you guys, the validators itself is no longer needed because they are using the Solana ecosystem. Solana itself, they have their own validators, have their own consensus mechanism, and of course building on top of it, basically you are using their security to basically run your layer 2 solution. So right now we can see that, but that's why the price is dumping. And after that, I mean, like those who are holding their validator node itself, somehow they are still being in a lockup, and eventually it will be released soon. So we here moving from POC to Oracle. So this is just a terminology, and after that, from there we can see that if you scroll down itself, so over here there's gonna be additional benefits for the Helium Hotspot itself. We're going to talk about it later on. So over here I would say that the proposed itself, we can see today itself, the Helium blockchain, they have their own proof of coverage on chain, and after the HNT transaction on chain, and after that data credit transfer on chain, everything is on chain. The LoRaWAN router itself, basically over here, once it's migrated towards the Solana ecosystem, it will be basically the proof of coverage to be renamed as Oracle, and after that the HNT transaction will be settled on Solana. So what does it mean itself? I'm going to explain it later. So when the transaction is settled on the Solana ecosystem, you will need to buy some Solana tokens to basically fuel this transaction, because remember, Helium is built on Solana, and after that it's the same thing on Ethereum itself. If let's say you build application on Ethereum, you need to have Ethereum to transact, and of course from there we can see that many changes has been done. But of course the LoRaWAN router itself will be the same. It will still works the same, but of course, to be honest, I do not know how it's going to work. So over here for Hotspots itself, we are going to expect more rewards, and because first of all, validators is probably going to get removed, and after that, I mean, like, it's certainly going to get removed, and of course from there the reward mechanism itself, majority of the rewards will be going to the validators. But of course, once it's removed, basically Helium Hotspots is going to get more validators, I mean, like, more rewards when the validator is removed. And of course from there, your hotspot itself, technically you do not need to do anything about it. You can just leave it running as per normal. And of course for antenna wise, to be honest, I do not know if they are going to use the antenna, and after that from there provide more proof of coverage, optimize the antenna, put it at a higher spot, buy a good antenna, and after that from there the cabling and everything. To be honest, when this Helium Light Hotspot implemented itself, people previously call it proof of luck, and after that I even call it proof of luck. And of course eventually that the ecosystem itself is trying to fix its issue, but eventually they can't, so they are migrating. And of course from there, once they migrate, they can do much more over there. And of course I would say that, to be honest, if you want to jump into the Helium ecosystem itself, buying a hotspot itself is good for you, because as of now there's a lot of price cut on the Helium hotspot itself, and we're going to talk about the more rewards on the Helium hotspots. So over here for the rewards itself, we can see that this approach itself will benefit the returning the proof of coverage challenge towards rewards towards the hotspot owner. So over here we can expect a 0.85 emission today. Basically you will see an increase of your Helium generation after the migration happened, and of course from this itself, it is certainly saying that the approach is going to happen, and of course we're going to explain it later. So for the hotspot itself, Linksdot itself, they are having this promotion, basically selling their hotspot at very cheap price. Basically previously was 339, eventually it is now 219, and of course from there, if let's say you are interested in buying, you can buy their complete setup with additional of $115, $105 to get the antenna and cabling. If let's say you do not want, you can just buy the hotspot itself, and after that from there launch it. And of course they do sell the outdoor antenna, and of course they sell a multi-pack. So basically you can see right now the whole logistic itself has been fixed, and after that from there they are selling more hotspots. And after that, eventually I would say yeah, basically there's a lot of challenges towards the manufacturer part, because they are changing from full hotspot, then suddenly change it to light hotspot, and from light hotspot, and after that migrating towards the Solana blockchain. So over here we can expect more rewards as this Helium hotspot owner, but of course eventually I would say yeah, many more is coming towards this itself. So we can see the impact on the ecosystem. HIP70 will pass, might pass, and after that from there you can see that this over here, they did not really explain on what is going to happen to the validator. But of course, if let's say a validator itself, Solana will remove the need for validators as they exist today. So over here, definitely it will be removed. And after that, from there, however, they propose a sub-DAO structure to allow the owners to redeploy their HNT to earn comparable yield. So over here, I believe this is like their liquidity pool on this Solana ecosystem, on the DEX or whatsoever. So somehow they're gonna implement something special for whoever that's owning the HNT token, because as of now the HNT token seems useless. I mean, like, why is it useless? We're gonna talk about it later on. And after that, over here for the community developer, basically they can tap into the Solana ecosystem. They have more developers over there to help out with the scalability of this Helium network. Token holders itself, HNT, mobile IoT, and DC itself, basically there's going to be a new upgrade on the wallet, and we can see it will integrate with the Solana blockchain. So whatever priorities that you have with your Helium network itself, it can be migrated towards the Solana ecosystem. And I believe maybe when when they transact itself, migrate itself, basically you might receive an NFT or a ERC721 token, or I don't know, some NFT token for your Helium hotspots, I assume, because they need to record it on the blockchain to say that you own this, and after that, from there you can get some rewards itself. So to be honest, for the rewarding, the emission of rewards itself is still quite unclear on how they're going to do it. Basically over here we can see after moving itself, hotspot owner will have an increase of 6.85 of HNT emission, and after that from there, you own the hotspot on the Helium Explorer itself, layer 1, and after that when it migrates itself, definitely it's gonna need to record some sort of data, some sort of proof of ownership for you to basically be the owner of this hotspot. And after that we will see how it's gonna work. And yeah, basically over here much more we are not gonna talk about. So for the vendor itself, yeah, basically they're selling more. And after that over here we're gonna talk about the HIP will it pass. So over here itself has already mentioned that this proposal has been done by the Helium core team. So what does that mean? Basically they're developers, and of course we understand that Helium itself, I have already said it many times, Helium itself is a decentralized infrastructure but a centralized development team itself, because over here you can see Nova Labs / Helium core itself, they own most of the token, basically they own most of the token. HNT basically is the governance token to pass this type of HIP project. But of course, definitely people will support this project itself. But of course, will this HIP70 pass? To be honest, I believe it will definitely going to pass, because as of now, the situation that we are seeing on Helium core itself, first, number one, the layer 1 Helium blockchain itself keeps going down, and after that from there they created their own ecosystem, their own programming language. They're programming towards the Helium Explorer / blockchain itself, and after that maintaining it is gonna be very high cost, because the supply for this type of developers is very low, and after that they need to train people one by one, and of course from there it is gonna be a financial impact. And of course from there you can see right now Helium itself, they are migrating towards this Solana to tap onto their resources, and after that from there do a scalability towards the ecosystem. And I believe this HIP will pass, and after that from there the final thoughts about this passing, and after that I'm gonna basically tell you the pros and cons. So for this HIP to pass itself, you will need to have at least 50% or 51% of the voting saying yes. But of course, Helium core itself, they own most of the token. I do not know how much, but believe me, I believe it's going to be like 40% or 30%. Even though 20% of the people who agree itself, it will pass. And after that, I would say for this to pass itself, it will be one thing, the pros itself. Yes, we might see more scalability, basically things being done quicker, and basically minimum downtime on their Helium the ecosystem itself. Basically they are tapping onto Solana's infrastructure to basically host their token itself, and after that from there their whole ecosystem onto the Solana ecosystem. So this is the pros itself. We will see less downtime, we will see more rewards on the hotspots owner, and after that from there we will see that development itself is going to be quickly push forward, and after that from there won't be like delays, and after that from there consensus towards all the validators asking them to confirm and this and that, and after that from there everything is going to be faster, I believe. And of course the cons itself, basically submitting your own decentralized project into Solana itself, they are going to put the trust and faith of their whole ecosystem onto Solana itself. And after that, to be honest, Solana itself, they are not really they have some bad news that is happening, and after the bad experience as well. Basically, first of all, they can shut down the blockchain anytime. Previously happened once or twice, and after that from there, it's not really that decentralized. If let's say they can shut down the blockchain anytime they want, and after that from there, basically is the cons. And of course the cons itself, the price of this news itself is impacting, and everything is dumping because of this HIP70 that has been announced. And after that, I believe basically they are submitting their own decentralization towards Solana, and after that from there, Helium itself, will it be truly decentralized? To be honest, I have no idea. And after that, it seems like every action that they have done, and after that, every proposal has been pushed. And of course, from there, previously talking about the Asia Laurent 1 network itself, not really earning a lot, and after that, eventually, because of the transmission scale being cut down and this and that, so everything itself, they are basically more focused onto the companies that have partnership with them, the countries itself, and after that, from there, that's where the money is. I do not blame them, but of course, this is a decentralized project, the people's network and everything. But of course, to be honest, we are just gonna wait and see what is gonna happen, and after that, we can see that the IoT that is coming, basically, yeah, I believe maybe the Helium Hotspot might be earning IoT token as well, if let's say they transmit the data of IoT device. And after that, I would say that the reward mechanism itself, we are gonna see more rewards, more tokens, and after that, eventually, will all of these tokens be worth it? And of course, I mean, like, we can see that by looking at the 1 year chart itself, it has been dumping all the way, and after that, from there, we just need to see a breakthrough from Helium itself, maybe on the 5G network, establishing themselves onto the ecosystem. I mean, the 5G industry itself is $100 billion industry, and after that, I would say Helium itself is not even worth a $1 billion. And of course, we can see that there's much potential growth. I mean, like, there's a lot of growth space to grow for Helium itself. But of course, from their past data itself, the chart itself, to be honest, it doesn't look very good. It seems like the whole project has its scam. If let's say, you know what do I mean, basically went so high and after eventually just crashed down towards $3 and eventually still declining. So I can see that previously Helium was only 27 cents, and of course you can see that the max supply itself is 223 million of this token that is circulating. I mean, like, the total supply. And of course, when it's circulating, I mean, everything over here, they're gonna launch a new token is basically gonna inflate the whole ecosystem price, and after that, eventually, we will see what can the Helium developers produce in the future. And of course, I would say, am I still supporting this? Yes, definitely, I'm still supporting this, and after that, I'm still hosting hotspots for free. If you want to, just sign up with my company, Extra Digitals. And after that, I would say I've come to the end of the video. If you like the video, kindly leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notification, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye bye, peace.